I'm so excited to finally be making this video. This is something I've wanted to do for years, but I never took the steps to get here until now. So I am super stoked that I finally get to say, welcome to my channel. This is Read Books, Get Lit. I'm super, super happy that you're here. So, as the title of this video entails, I thought it would be a good idea to step into the YouTube space by doing the Booktube Newbie Tag. I did kind of piece together lists that I found from Eve's Book Nook and Alicia's Book Tea. So, let's dive right in. This is future me pausing the video because I totally forgot to say who I am. I guess in the excitement of recording, I forgot to say my name. So this is my official introduction. Hi everyone, my name is Zaida and this is Read Books, Get Lit. Okay, fantastic. Let's continue on. All right, question number 1. Why did you start this channel? I have my favorite books, I have authors that I'm super into, but I don't necessarily have people that I can talk to about them in my day-to-day life. So being here on YouTube, it allows me to connect with fellow bookworms and grow this community. I know everybody says that. It is a very cliched answer, but I think it's true, cliches are cliches for a reason, right? The other thing that I should also point out, in addition to being a reader, I'm also a writer and an aspiring published author. One day, hopefully, that comes to fruition. So I anticipate using this channel to combine both booktube and authortube content. So yes, I will definitely be posting a lot of book talk videos, but I also really want to share my writing journey and my journey into the daunting and often miserable querying part of publishing, right? So that is something to look forward to. Hopefully, you'll stick around for it. I think it'll be an exciting time. Question number 2. What are some fun and unique things you can bring to BookTube? I don't know if this is the best pitch for my channel, but I'm going to say it anyway. I typically don't read newly released books. I don't read the viral hits or the uber popular authors. That's just not the kind of reader that I am. Because of that, the books that I enjoy, the books that I'm reading, the authors I want to talk about are probably titles and people that you might not have heard of, or at least are not, circling through other content out there. So, in that respect, I think the books and authors I want to talk about will probably be a lot more diverse than what's currently being talked about. I think also because I am a writer and especially I am working on a current manuscript to query sometime down the line, I enjoy books for the entertainment aspect, but also I look at writing and stories for the craft of writing. So that might be a fun angle that I could bring to BookTube and hopefully talk about it in a way that makes sense to readers, even if you're not a writer yourself. Does that make sense? I hope so. The next question is, what are you most excited for about this channel? I think I answered this in the first question, sort of, but just really having the space to talk about books, learn about other books that people are into, books they're not into, and, building the community. Again, a cliche, but still true. Number 4, why do you love reading? So, first and foremost, I'm a big fan of storytelling. For some background, I went to a performing arts college. I grew up doing performing arts, singing, dancing, theater, and eventually did major in acting, did that whole thing. And in that environment, we're surrounded by creativity and world building, character development, script writing, structure, and that paired with fiction writing is sort of who I am as a person, and being able to really understand what I think is at the heart of all stories is the human experience. That's really what it comes down to, right? We are sharing, we are learning, we are connecting. Now more than ever, I feel like we need to really embrace that. So, storytelling, huge fan. And also as a writer, reading is kind of part of the deal. Reading allows a writer to study story structure, to understand prose. How can I improve my dialogue? It's very much a package deal in my mind as a reader and as a writer. Number 5. What book or series got you into reading? I'm trying to think back to when I was a kid and my mom would take my sister and I to the library basically every 2 weeks or so, and I would borrow If You Give a Mouse a Cookie over and over and over again. I loved that book. I don't know why we didn't just own it. I never got it from the bookstore, but I kept borrowing it from the library all the time. My mom actually bought that for me for my birthday one year, and I think I might still have it. Hold on. Yes. Aha, I do. If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. Yo, this was my shit. I love this book so, so much. I know I'm also aging myself, but that's okay. It is what it is. And then the other book that I'm thinking of, also from when I was a small kid, it's called In a Dark, Dark Room and Other Scary Stories. It was basically an anthology. It had short stories, kind of scary, kind of creepy. And my mom would read it to me, and she would do these really scary, creepy, monstery voices when she was reading it. And I loved that. I definitely feel like that is why I turned out the way that I did. Oh well. Question number 6. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? I would be very interested to know if there was any part of the booktube process that kind of surprised you or was unexpected. Let me know. I would be really interested to hear. Number 7. What challenges of starting a booktube channel do you think will be the hardest to overcome? For me, it is time. It is time management and finding the motivation to do all of this. I feel like I definitely have to dig deep and keep the momentum going, keep the motivation to really push through and show up consistently. Also, something that kind of affected me with my Bookstagram account was just remembering that the stats don't really matter. They shouldn't matter as much as we kind of allow them to matter. I have to remember with this new adventure here on YouTube that it's not about reaching all the people everywhere, but it's about reaching the right people. The right bookworms and readers and fellow creatives. Not everyone, because my stuff, it's not going to be for everyone. Like, as you've probably heard, I do swear, right? I kind of talk a lot as well. I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay. But if we are on the same wavelength, if we vibe, that's great. I'm super stoked that you're here. So yeah, it really comes down to keeping that in mind, being very aware that I'm not for everybody, but as long as I'm reaching the right people, then it's a good day in my book. Question number 8. When did you start reading? I don't know the exact age I was when I started reading. I want to say average, whatever average age that is. But my sister, who's older, she started reading at a very young age. So by the time I showed up, there were tons of books in the house already. And we would go to the library every 2 weeks. We would go to the bookstore. That was sort of the one place we always stopped at whenever we went to the mall. We would go to Walden Books, spend like an hour in there. I'm aging myself by saying Walden Books because it has been gone for a very long time. But if you remember Walden Books, shout out to you. That place holds a very special place in my heart. So yeah, I'm very fortunate that reading was encouraged in our family, in our household by my parents and grandparents. I know that's not the case for everybody. I think reading as a child is So important. I have so many thoughts on censorship and what's happening right now, but that is a different video, which I'm not going to go into right now. But yes, probably started at, I don't know, 3, 4. When did kids learn to read? I have no idea. Question number 9. Where do you read? I basically read sitting on the couch or the floor. Sometimes I'll sit up in bed and read, but mostly just the couch. What's funny is that from about 2015 to 2021, I used to read exclusively at work. And by at work, I mean while I was doing my job, which is wild. I did not open a book when I went home in the evenings, didn't read on the weekends or my days off. It really was strictly while I was at my desk at work, supposedly working. I did do my work, but I was simultaneously reading. You do what you got to do to get through your books, you know? Question number 10. What kind of books do you like to read? I'd say for the last maybe 6 or 7 years, I would probably gravitate first towards historical fiction. It doesn't have to be like a straight historical fiction. It could be a story with that element within it, but I just I really appreciate the research and the way that the writer presents all of the history to a modern day reader. I really admire that. The next genre that I really enjoy is probably memoirs, specifically of entertainers that I'm a fan of, that I really enjoy and admire. Carol Burnett's memoirs, Henry Winkler, Rob Lowe, um, John Lithgow. He wrote a memoir, I think it's called Drama, Drama something. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, here it is. Yes, it's called Drama: An Actor's Education. This book, it was super funny. It has a lot of humor. If you're an actor, a thespian, a creative person in general, I would definitely recommend this book. It was very entertaining. I will say about 10 years ago, I used to be a very big fan of YA contemporary books. And I have just outgrown that genre, which is very sad. I feel like when I realized this a couple years ago, I kind of had to mourn the loss of YA contemporary from my life, which sounds ridiculous. I know it sounds really silly, but that's kind of what happens as you get older and your tastes change and you fall in and out of love with different genres or books or authors, and that's kind of just how it goes, right? We are evolving. We are hopefully evolving the older we get, right? Or at least that's the goal. That's what I'll tell myself at least. And number 11, what does your book collection look like? So, as you can see, I have been standing in front of my bookcase. It's one of those standard 5 shelf bookcases. It's pretty full up. I also have a second bookcase. It's one of those 6 cube bookcases, and that is full of all of my unread books. It's a lot. I have a lot to get through. I will eventually get there one day. But these are the only 2 spaces that I have for my books. I have limited space in my place, so I have to be very selective when I purge and kind of sort through what books I want to keep. I will say on neither of my bookcases, I don't have my plays. So again, I went to acting school, read a lot of plays, and I did donate a good chunk of them when I left LA, but I held on to, a handful that were my favorite plays and I really loved them. I don't have a place to display those yet, but within those plays, I actually do collect one specific play. It is my favorite play ever. That is A Midsummer Night's Dream. Love this play. I have been working on Puck's monologue, Act 3, Scene 2. I have been workshopping that thing since I was 17 years old, okay? Used it to audition many times, worked on it in class, many classes at like 3 different schools, I think. It's wild. So that I have 13 or 14 copies at this point. And I think all but two of them are different prints. It's the one thing that I can say that I actually collect as far as, books go. So, there you have it. All right, we have officially made it to the end of the video. If you are still here with me, thank you for sticking it out. I don't even know how long this is going to be, but if you have made it to this part, you are a rock star. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. I'm I'm excited to see what this new adventure here on BookTube has in store for me. I would very much appreciate it if you join me along for the ride. If there was at least one thing that you liked or enjoyed about this video, definitely give it a thumbs up, and please consider subscribing if you feel so inclined. It can definitely help my channel grow here on my little corner of YouTube. So that is a wrap for the Booktube Newbie Tag. I hope to see you in my next video, which I will be doing an AuthorTube Newbie Tag, so you get to know a little bit more about me as a writer, what I'm writing, and all that good stuff. So definitely come back and check that out. And yeah, thank you so much for being here. Until next time, bye.